Hello and welcome to Claire Hall Pilates and Personal Training. I'm going to take you through a 30-minute session today of intermediate to more advanced Pilates. If you have hand weights, you're welcome to use them. Cushions always handy for the back of the head or the knees if they're a little bit tender, and also the side of the hip. So we'll start by setting the body up into perfect neutral alignment by drawing the insides of the feet together and the knees and lining up the two large toes. So just take a little bit of a squeeze of those inner thighs as we separate the toes out to 10 to 2 on the clock face. Rise up onto the balls of the feet and place your heels back down behind. So I just want us to consider this wide belt muscle that wraps all the way around the center of the body. It's really important that we can try to engage it. So pull your navel in towards your spine by that sustainable 1/3, or you've got that internal hammock, that zip, so zip up back passage to front passage in order to engage the pelvic floor. But once again, if you go too tight with either of those muscles, you can no longer breathe or relax. We need the upper body to remain fluid and flowing, so therefore try to just pull it in slightly. So we're going to start to warm up the upper body a little bit with some breath. So just place the hands on the outside seams of the trousers and breathe in through your nose to lift your shoulders up. And exhale, circle them around, back and down. So looking to create symmetry through the body. And once we've got the shoulders a little bit more mobile, you can start to brush the top of the head with the inside of the arms. So my hips are still facing forwards. I'm just opening up a little more through the chest and through the shoulders. Now, because this is only a 30-minute routine, you may want to take a longer warm-up rather than the one that I'm going to give you now. So I'm just going to let my arms swing from side to side, but once we've finished the warm-up, if you feel like you need a little bit more, then of course you can continue. So we're just going to take those arms around the body, making sure that we don't hold our breath, and then open the arms out to the side, touch the walls, and lower your arms down, shoulder roll. So we're going to move into a mobility section to further warm the body before we go down onto the floor for some more intense core work. Now I'm just going to have a little look behind me to make sure that there's nothing that I'm going to trip over. And we're going to start with a lunge on the right side with the back extension. So I'm going to take my right leg back behind, arms out to the side, I'll smile arms and step in. Now, as you know, it's rare that I ask you to do just the one repetition. So I want you to take your time and consider the precision of your movement. So the whole of the front foot is on the ground, but just the back toes, not the heel. So we keep the heel lifted. Controlled lunges, breathing in on the down and exhale to come forwards. Good. So I'd like us to do one more on each side, she says, with a wobble. And you can start to drop the knee down a little bit closer. So we're creating good stability here through the hips. Lovely, good. Okay, hold it here. Can we take that right arm up and over the head for a flexion and breathe in? And a long exhale to take it back. Pop the right hand on the thigh and take the left arm over. And then bring it back. And just give your shoulders a roll. Good. Once again, I didn't check the start time. So if you've done my previous video, you know it's longer than 30 minutes. So let's put those two movements together. Take a lunge back on the right. Take a breath in. And exhale, come forward. So we're really rooting down through that front foot. Left leg back behind, breathe in. And exhale, come forwards. Take that right arm a little bit further over the head. Keeping the feet firmly planted on the ground to stay stable. Taking that left arm over, feeling beautiful stretch up that left hand side of body. And then can you come into balance for me? On your tiptoes, squeeze the butt, squeeze the belly, and take the arms out to the side with the palms facing down. Now actively drop your shoulders, chin on shelf, breathe in, and a little rotation with straight arms around to the right. So try to keep that imaginary pole behind the back of the body. Arms come to the center and a little rotation around to the left. Good, back to the middle, breathe in. Exhale, lower. Both of the arms go up, gaze up towards the ceiling. Bend both knees and take a controlled ski. Second ski can be a little bit more dynamic now that we've established that we are using both of our legs. Good. And then circle the arms around and give the shoulders a roll. Should we take it from the top and put all those movements together? Take your right leg back for a lunge and your arms up and breathe in, drop the knee. And exhale, come forwards. Good. A bit of a wobble is fine. Breathe in, it's more realistic if we wobble. And step forwards, both feet planted down. Right arm over the head, breathe in. And exhale, bring it back. Let the hip just drift as the arm drifts over. Good, and bring it back. Can I see you come up onto tiptoes? Breathe in. Squeeze back and belly, exhale, open. Drop your shoulders, breathe in, rotate to the right. Exhale, center. Core is engaged throughout, looking to the left. Center. Take both of the arms up, drop the heels. Ski down. Give me a big back extension. Inhale through the nose and exhale, arms by sides. Take a breath in. Roll the shoulders, breathe out. Chin to chest and have a little roll down the fronts of your thighs. And don't let the knees kiss together. Start to straighten out the backs of the legs as your hands travel further down towards your ankles. Finishing with your knuckles on the tops of your feet. Give me a shake and a nod of the head. Say yes and no. Breath in and slowly roll back up to stand. Okay, so the body is now being mobilized, but as I said, if you feel like you need a little bit more, you can obviously repeat that section. I'm taking myself now onto the ground, so I'm going to move the screen, so you know with me, once I go down, I won't bring you back up again. So if you do adjust the screen, it will be the last time that you do it in this routine. So coming down now onto the ground, onto all fours, and I'm going to take you into high plank. Now, if the wrists are a little bit sore, don't forget, you can make a fist. You can roll the mat up at the front for that extra cushioning. So we're going to do a little bit of layering here. So with the hands directly underneath the shoulders, lengthening our legs back behind and being in high plank. Now suck the belly in. Can you bring your right knee forwards and breathe in? And exhale, take it back. So keep the head lifted if you can. It's really tempting to drop the head. Take the left leg forwards and bring it back. Now my right knee is going to just twist around to my left wrist. I'm going to bend my elbows and then push them back up straight. I'm going to take the left around to the right and push back up straight. Drop down to the knees. Tops of the feet go flat. Hands stay where they are, but the bottom goes back to child's pose. Good. Okay, so let's add on. Tuck your toes under, breathe in. Lovely, slow exhale to lengthen the legs. Perfect. Back to the right knee through the middle. We're adding on. Breathe in. Exhale, take it back. So if we go quite slow, it's tougher. Left knee goes through, left leg goes back. Twist. You can go a little bit lower by bending the elbows. And then have a twist. Look around to the right. Drop the knees onto the floor, tops of the feet go flat, hands go out past the edges of your mat. Slightly raise the lower back and drop down for your push-up. And push up. Good. So, you drop your chest down into the space in between your hands. You keep the low back slightly lifted in case there's a bit of a dip. And I want you to do 3 more a little quicker. So you go down, up, up, 1 more, down and up, and take your bottom back towards your heels. And just have a moment. Should we just add on 1 more thing to that? Just moving the bottom from side to side if we need to take a little bit of a breather. Otherwise, bring yourself back up into the high plank. And I won't tell you what it is until we get there. No need. So bringing the body weight forward, so I've got a little bit of pressure through the hands. Pull this belly button in. Go on, make the waistband looser. Take a deep breath. Tap the toes under and come up into high plank and hold. So a bit of a squeeze of the butt, keep the head lifted. So you know the drill now. Right knee forwards, breathe in. Exhale, take it back. Try and push the heels back into that imaginary wall. Left leg forwards and take it back. I'm going to look around to the left as my right knee goes towards my left wrist. and push it back. We can do this. Come on, think strong, think lean. Good. And push back. And now I'm going to drop down and relax the tops of my feet, lift up my low back, hands go out to the side. I'm going to go down nice and slowly for 3. If you want to, you only need to go to your elbow crease no further. You don't have to take your chest all the way to the ground. Good. We've got 1 more. Now I've got 3 a little quicker. We go down, up, keep the head lifted. Good. Last time. And now tuck the toes under, back into high plank. Come down onto your elbows and bring your palms together in prayer. So we've got the high plank position, and I just want you to breathe in through your nose. I'm not going to keep your head low, and out through your mouth. Good. 1 more in and out. Hand goes flat, so does the other hand. Drop onto the knees and relax in child's pose. Good. So just letting everything settle. Taking a rock, if necessary, from side to side. Play the piano with the fingers. Stretch out the palms of the hands if you need a little bit of release. Brilliant. And now we're going to come down and lay on our side. For our side planks. So, soft block, I'm going to use it to place underneath my elbow, but you don't have to. And here, I am going to give you a modification. You can either perform your side bend, which involves keeping a bend in your knees and lifting the hip off of the floor, or you take the top leg over the back leg and you come up here into this position. We're only doing 6. So you're going to keep the palm pointing downwards. You're going to breathe in and then exhale. So I do want you to come down, but I don't want you to relax at the bottom, if at all possible. Trying to keep the head in line with the rest of the spine, breathing in. And breathing out. We're halfway already, so you can lift up a little bit higher. I want you to squeeze the belly in, feeling the workload through these oblique muscles, muscles of the waist. Breathe in. Remember, like I said, I'll come and spray tan those obliques on for you if they don't appear. Good. 1 more and hold. Stay up. Take the arms so it's more up towards the ceiling, not over the head, and just pulse. We did 6 lift and lowers. Let's finish with 6 pulses. Oh my goodness. Last one. Hold. And gently come down. Perfect. Come into seated. Mermaid stretch. Stretching off the side of the body that we've been lifting. The arm that was supporting us, we're going to take it up and over the head. Breathe in and breathe out to soften. Good. Bring that arm down and take your block over, down to the other side and swap over. So once again, like I said about the warm-up, if you felt the warm-up wasn't enough, you could have done more. If you feel that these exercises aren't enough, just double the amount of repetitions. So the bent legs, if you wanted to keep your legs bent, I'll just show you here. So here is the modified version, more challenging version, is to take that back leg over the front leg and hold here. So the legs are staggered. I've got my shoulder in line with my elbow and I'm going to get on with it. I'm going to breathe in to lift up and exhale to lower the hip down. So watch like your head doesn't drop. Try to keep the head in line with the spine, feeling the workload through the muscles of the waist, through the core. Put the belly button in by a third. Reaching the arm over a little bit to increase that lift through the hips. There's only 3 more. That's not too bad, is it? Breathe in and exhale. Palm should be facing downwards. 2 more repetitions. So providing your navel is pulled in towards your spine, you are protecting that back. Hold here and pulse upwards. Good. There's only 3 more. Pinch it. Go on. Last one. Hold. Gently come on down. Come up into seated. Giving the shoulder that you've been resting on a little bit of a roll. And if your knees won't bend in this position, don't worry. Just have them where it feels the most comfortable. Because we're going to take that supporting arm now up and over the head in order to take a beautiful stretch all the way up that side of the body and out through the fingertips. Perfect. Pop that hand down, and I would like you to take your block back to the head end of your mat. And we're going to come down now on to our backs. So the first exercise I'm going to ask you to do, once you've just made sure that your neck is in line with your spine as you gaze up towards the ceiling, is going to be an abdominal curl with a heel drop. So, bringing our legs up into tabletop, and it doesn't hurt, as always, to check that you have got neutral spine. So if I put my hand in the small of the back, I should be able to have some pressure on the knuckles, and then I can slide my hand away. And there isn't that much of a gap. Try drinks on the shins. Now, I'll just show you what we could do if you so wanted. Rather than just dropping the right toe downwards and bringing it back up, you could cradle head in hands, and you look at the space in between the knees, and then you bring the head back, but not quite to rest. So we are going to do 6 of those. So could you breathe in to prepare, and exhale, take that right leg down. Breathe in and go back. And exhale, repeat. So everything is with that right leg. If you wanted to make that right leg a little bit straighter, you could start to now. So the calf muscle begins to go parallel to the ground. So my gaze is ideally looking forwards rather than back behind. And I'm going to do one more repetition here. Take an exhale. And inhale. Exhale, head goes back. Legs are still in tabletop. My right elbow is going to drop to ground. And I'm just going to reach across to the shin of the right leg with the left hand, and then the left hand back to head. I'm going to swap sides. So my right hand just tracks down my left shin. And if you've got any back issues, but you want to continue with this, you can support the head, but keep it low and just reach across with the hand. You're then still getting the workload through the waist. Now, if you wanted to make this exercise a little more difficult for yourself, start to lower your feet downwards and reach to the outside of the thigh rather than the shin. Legs come back, and then they go again. So the legs aren't still, they're constantly moving. So this is your modification, or not your modification, shall we say your progression, if you wanted to make it a little bit harder. This belly is going to still be in though. No bulging of the belly, no Chinese takeaway belly. Of course, other takeaways are available. Take an exhale and an inhale. Good, couple more. Good, now head goes back, and just take a moment to yourself to interlink your fingers around the fronts of the shins and lift your tailbone off of the floor. The eye gaze could peep over the tops of those interlinked fingers to get an additional stretch through the spine, if that feels nice. Otherwise, just keep the head down. Don't forget, the neck does strain quite easily, but it is important that we work the muscles that support the head by lifting the head from time to time. So we are going to take it over now to the left side. So if you didn't want to do those the abdominal curls, you could just do the left heel drop instead and focus on perhaps a long leg. So core is pulled in, breath comes in, and exhale, I'm going to take my left leg down. So you could always just let the hands rest on the top of the belly if there's any doubt that you are letting the air drop down to there. So I want the air to stay in the ribs, remember. So I'm exhaling on the down and inhaling on the rise. If you fancy the abdominal curl, you curl up as that left toe goes down, and you breathe in as it comes back. I want you to be aware of the right foot though. Don't let it drift over towards the left. It should remain tracking in line with the knee. And it won't hurt from time to time for you to give it a helping hand. So if it does track left, just control it with both of the hands. Can we do 2 more, but start to make that left leg a little bit longer? So it goes a little bit further away, which means it takes longer to bring it back into tabletop. Good, couple more. Exhaling and inhaling. Trying to lengthen, keeping the core engaged. And bring it back. And just let the knees gently come in towards you. A little bit of a rock from side to side. Taking the gaze up towards the ceiling, not ideally too far back behind. Brilliant. And then we're going to move into our bridge with our feet flat on the floor. So walking the feet a little bit closer back towards your bottom and having your feet, as usual, 1 or 2 fist distance apart, obviously depending on the size of your fists and the size of your hips. But your knees should be in line with your hips. Now let's have a little tilt of the pelvis forwards and backwards. So you're all experienced, you know what you're doing. Allow the pelvis to tilt, spread the toes, palms go down on the ground but light, and then start to peel the tailbone off. Now you could stay with a lift and lowering of the bridge, but if you wanted to progress, could I ask you to lift it up onto your right tiptoes? Breathe in and exhale to lower. Spirit level across the hips is making sure that they are remaining complete level. Now after the lift and lower of the foot, I want you, or the heel should I say, I want you to lift that right leg up into tabletop. You will need to push into the left foot a little bit more and then put that right foot back down and spread the toes. Steady yourself through your hips before pushing into the right leg. Breathe in and then lifting up the left. Good. So can we do that a couple more times? You could allow your arms to go out to the side and you could lift up a little bit higher if you wanted. Watch the knees aren't going too wild going out to the side. So you breathe in to lift and you exhale to lower. So think about that imprint you've made with your foot because it's going exactly down back into the same space. Lift up and pop it back down. How about one more on each side? Go on, give me a bit of a squeeze of the butt. Put tonight's Euro Millions ticket in between those buttocks. Keep hold of it for me. Keep those hips nice and level and don't rush to take the foot back to ground. So we're rooting through the supporting leg in order to lift the other leg. Take a breath in at the top. And slowly lower the spine, bone by bone, upper back, mid-back bra line, below bra line, back of hips, and finally the tailbone. Good, lift your head off of the floor, bring your right knee in, hug, left knee, hug, squeeze the insides of the knees and just feel your bottom come off of the ground as you just roll into a little ball. Okay, could we lengthen the right leg out in front and just take a bent left leg across the straight right leg using that right hand. My left arm is lengthened out in line with the shoulder, but if I've got issues with the shoulder, it's absolutely fine to let it rest on the rib cage. It will make you roll more over to this right side. That doesn't matter, providing you feel safe. So you can always make a bit of a shelf with that right elbow on the ground, and now I can feel more supported if I need to relax my left shoulder. Now the fingers of the left hand can press into the outside seam of the trouser or to the side of the knee. Give the toes a wiggle, quick glance up at the legs. Do you want to bring this left knee up a little bit more before taking it over a little bit further? Deepen the breath. It will help if it's tight. But it'll also help if you're tired, because deep breathing invigorates the body. In and out for me. And then we're going to slowly roll back along the base of the spine. Always go slow, because you never know how you're going to feel when you've been in a static position, static line. I'm going to bring my right knee in towards my chest and take it across my left leg. But go slowly. I never want you to push or pulse to your furthest point. I go steadily and I keep my left elbow on the ground as I take my left fingers sliding slightly down the outside of my right thigh. Once again, checking in with this right arm. If it is really tight, but not painful, you might just want to float it off the ground and back down again, just seeing if that creates relaxation down through the shoulders. Eye gaze, you can look down the length of that right arm, up to ceiling or over to the left. Treat yourself to a couple rounds of breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Relaxing down through the whole of the back of the body, but staying focused on what needs to be stretched. You might want to push your fingers in to the outside of that right knee a little bit more, or hook the leg up a little bit higher to deepen the stretch down through the spine. And once again, you can always repeat these stretches and hold a bit longer. In the perfect world, 3 to 5 minutes would be lovely. And then roll back along the base of the spine. We hold behind the back of that right thigh and the left thigh, and lengthen those legs up towards the ceiling, just to get a bit of a stretch through your hamstrings. See if you can separate them. Don't let the knees kiss together, don't let them knot together, and then see if you can just take your hands up and down the backs of your thighs as you stretch your feet. So you're pulling the toes down towards you, they're going over the back of the head, not your legs, that is, just your toes. Take your legs back behind your head if you like. Looks impressive, but it doesn't serve much purpose to us at this point in time. So just lifting the head off of the floor, seeing if you can feel that beautiful stretch behind the backs of the knees. If your legs are quite short, you can obviously go higher up towards the ankles, or maybe even the toes. So beautiful stretch through the backs of the legs before we think about coming back up into standing. So gently let the knees drop down to the ground. Take a full body stretch, where I'd like you to perform the clench and release technique. So we're going to screw up the face, make a fist and point our toes, pull the belly in, squeeze the butt and breathe in. And then everything goes floppy. Do that twice more for me. It's quite useful to do this tense and release, not quite this dramatic, but if you're struggling in bed at night to sleep. Because if you work through each individual body part, if you did right hand, left arm, right leg, you did left butt, right butt, thigh, ankles, toes, by the time you've got through the whole body, you tend to just drift off anyway, because you've sort of lost the momentum and the brain is just thinking, oh, exhausting, so you tend to drift off. Give me one more tense and release. Take a big breath in, squeeze everything, go on, get those butt cheeks together, breathe in and let it go floppy. So placing your feet down on the ground, now squeezing the insides of the knees together, having a little bit of a roll over to one side before pushing into that top hand and coming around onto all fours. So normally we have a closing phase in our classes where we take a good 5 minutes or so to allow the body to absorb all of the information and to process. But because this is only 30 minutes or so, we haven't included that. But if you did want to take some time now to rest, of course you could. Could we though please arch the spine up towards the ceiling with the chin down towards the chest. Breathe in through the nose, stay here and breathe out. And then let our body weight shift back towards our heels. When we come up into standing, it must be slow, because you never know how you're going to feel when you've been laid down for a considerable length of time. So could we use this as one final opportunity to lengthen our hamstrings? So roll your knees away from one another if they're kissing. Drape over the fronts of your shins and suck your belly button in towards your spine. Take a breath in through the nose and slowly roll up to stand. Really slowly, bone by bone, keeping those knees away from one another. If that means rolling the thighs away, then that's fine. Okay, I'm just going to adjust the screen so we can finish in that standing posture. So taking your arms away from the side of the body and spread the fingers. Take a big inhalation to bring the palms together in prayer. And exhale, thumbs in towards the chest. Interlink and push the arms away, gazing down at the space in between your feet. Inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. And exhale, bring the arms down. Give the shoulders a roll. Very important that we are able to look over each one of our shoulders. Nice and slowly. Look around and over the other shoulder roll. And then relax. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you sometime soon.